Hello folks, it's Sean, Victorian Piper, and welcome to International Pipe Smoking Day 2021. So this is my second International Pipe Smoking Day. Obviously I'd started December 2019, so I did raise a bowl on the day last year, but I wasn't making videos then, so obviously no sort of video to show for it. But obviously this year is slightly different, so I hope you're all going to have a great day today, and at least smoke at least one bowl today, in bonhomie, I guess, with all our friends around the world who are, of course, beloved pipe smokers. So for today's video on this International Pipe Smoking Day, I thought I'd do another review. I got quite a lot of views on my first impressions of the 1792 flake, so I guess some folks must be quite interested. I still don't think I'm very good at reviewing, but I guess every impression counts, especially if it's something you've not tried before. You might see the kind of things I smoke and think, well, we have similar tastes, so if Sean likes it, chances are I might like it. So that's good enough for me. So as you've probably seen from the thumbnail, I've got it ready here. Now, this is obviously a very, very old blend, Erinmore. I believe it was originally made by Murray's, and I did mean to check actually when it first started being produced, because I know it has been around for an awful long time. And as per usual, I've got everything set up and forgot to actually do that. So if I can find it, I'll flash it up on the screen while I'm talking. I haven't got the tin. As you've probably, well, you'll all have seen, I guess, even our US friends will have seen, our UK tins and pouches are appalling. The tiniest of art, and then obviously the majority of its warnings. So I did actually get rid of, I'd kept all my tins over the last year and then thought, oh, they'll come in handy for something. And then you think, hang on, I've got tons and tons of these things, what on earth am I going to put in them? So I did actually get rid of them all. So this Erinmore I actually bought last year. You can see there, 1020, and it had sat in the jar for a good few months. It was one of those blends that I thought, I don't know what I thought actually. It certainly hasn't turned out how I thought it would. I was expecting, I think, a very bright Virginia blend, being an old school type of blend. And, you know, I'd obviously heard about the very fruity topping to it. And although I do like a sweet blend, I don't know, something just put me off trying it. So I bought that tin on a whim, like I say, quite some time ago, and then just left it in the drawer. But anyway, I thought I'd get it jarred up a couple of weeks ago now, and it very much surprised me. So we'll show you the flake again. So there we go. Now this is the first thing that surprised me about it. If that's focusing, it might be. You can see it's a very dark flake. Not what I expected at all. Like I said, I expected a very bright Virginia mix. Whereas obviously this is not. It's that, so it's very dark, and smelling it, and the tin note especially, that's where that very sort of heavy fruit smell comes from. Now, I know there's been a long time thought, or not a rumour, but a general impression that the topping is pineapple. Now, from what I read, that's not the case at all, and I think that came about from the original tin art had a logo, as part of the logo was a pineapple. Now, I did notice on the tin I bought, which, like I said, I've thrown away, I'll see if I can find both to compare. The newer tins don't have that pineapple on it anymore. Whether that's to do with regulations, because you're not allowed to put a flavouring in the name of these things. Now, I know Erinmore at no point said it's pineapple flavoured, but I guess that pineapple might have construed that that's what it was flavoured with, so perhaps I've had to remove it. I don't know. But anyway, the jar note, tin note, yeah, dark fruits, very sweet smelling, and I can see where that sort of thing of the pineapple comes from. It has got that. I don't think it's pineapple per se, but it's that very sort of sweet, tangy, citrusy smell. So anyway, let's drop that down. So the pipe I chose for today, I showed it in the VR I did for the 3-pipe challenge, and this was the pipe that surprised me. It's a combination of an old 1950s new old stock, I think it's FB stummel, and then the stem and the sort of shank extension apparently were from the 1930s, again new old stock, that have been made up by Mark and Pipes to make this. You see there, it's got a sort of push fit tenon. Don't know if you can see in there. Yeah, you can see how it works. Just pushes and sits in there nice and tight. But anyway, quite a few people commented on this, so let's make this one. It is a really good smoking pipe, so I'll get this loaded up and get it lit, and I'll be back in a minute to give you some impressions, and we'll have a little bit of a chat. So see you in a sec. Okay, so we're underway. Now, I've smoked a good few bowls of this now, which is why I've not got many flakes left in my tin. And I'll say from the off, this is an absolute winner for me. So as I said, I don't know why I'd got in my head that this was going to be some light, sort of bright Virginia forward blend. I must have made it up because I'd not really seen anything about it before too much, other than I was well aware of it. But that's not the case, as you saw from the bloke. It is a Virginia burley mix, again with that fruit topping. So let me just pop my little screen on here, and it's very early in the morning. My eyes aren't the best without my reading glasses, and even though this is fairly far away, we'll see what we can do. So yes, contents is black Cavendish, burley and Virginia. Now, there is an inherent sweetness to this. Not too much, it's not overbearing. That topping, although on that initial light, that comes through very strong. People have compared it, I've noticed too, they say it's a bit like juicy fruit chewing gum. I think for the first couple of draws, maybe. It is a little bit like that, to be fair. But after those couple of initial draws, it settles right down. I can tell you, as I say from smoking previously, that fruit flavour does stay all the way through. It's not one of those toppings that, like on a proper sort of aromatic, you'll smoke it, get that fruit or whatever it is topping flavour initially for the first 5 minutes, and then it tends to burn off and you're left with just the tobacco. This one does stay with you all through the bowl. So if you like that, like I say, very citrus fruit topping, and it is subtle, I think. It does, like I say, does stay with the bowl, so you do get a consistent flavour. In terms of the component tobaccos, I think the Cavendish is adding that little bit of that sort of sweetness that, again, stays throughout the bowl. The Virginias are, I know people compare them to sort of grass and hay-like, and I do get that with very Virginia forward blends, but I find it must be a fairly even mix of Virginias and Burleys in this. I don't think anyone quite dominates. It's a very rich mouthfeel, this. It's not a light tobacco. It is quite robust, actually, and that's the other thing that surprised me. It's just not what I'd got in my head, is what I thought it would be like. Again, on that relight, and obviously you get a real good volume of smoke when you're relighting the pipe. Again, very smooth, creamy, sweet, as I said, but not overbearingly so. And I think as it's burning down a bit and catching, see it's burning a little better now. I think the Burleys have maybe got ever such a slight edge, but they're not harsh at all in the slightest. They're, no. Nicotine wise, I can tell again, over the few bowls I've smoked, as you'll know, I'm not the most nicotine tolerant person, although I do seem to be getting better, especially since I've been using snuff regularly for the last probably 6 months, 5-6 months. I think that's helped build up a bit. I'll say it's medium strong, depending how you look at it. Like I say, it's not a light low nicotine blend at all. In terms of smokability, I only tend to smoke 1 bowl a day, but I'd happily smoke more than one of this. It's not that strong that you'd not really want to sort of stay all day on it. But yeah, very satisfying. So in fact, I've never at this point given any tobacco a mark out of whatever. But if I was giving this a mark out of 10, I'd say that's probably an 8. Maybe squeezing a 9 out of 10 for me. What I have found is over obviously this year of exploring pipes and tobaccos, I think it's clicked in the last couple of months. Virginia Burleys are definitely my thing. Virtually all the blends that I'm reaching for at the minute that tend to be sort of at the very sort of top 5 of what I'll pick on a almost daily basis are Virginia Burleys. So it obviously seems to be, at least for the minute, it's definitely my thing. So yeah, very, very good. If you've not tried Erinmore, there's a mixture as well as the flake. I guess as with all of these where there's both, I suspect the flake will give you a richer, darker flavour and probably have a little bit more of that topping in it, as obviously as the flake cut tends to sort of hold its moisture and flavour better. I might give the mixture a go one time, but I do like my flakes, to be honest. I like the preparation and the convenience of how little space they take. You can get a lot more into a jar than with obviously a sort of ribbon cut mixture. Yeah, there we go. Erinmore Flake, highly recommended if you've not tried it before, especially Virginia Burleys are what you like. So, on to other matters then. Won't keep you too long. There's going to be hundreds of videos today, I'm sure. One thing in International Pipe Smoking Day, but the main thing for pipe smoking in general is our community. I've mentioned this numerous times, but we're just such a great bunch of people, aren't we? Let's be honest, we are. So just thought I'd show you a couple of things that I've had from friends in the YTPC over the last few weeks. So first up, I really wanted to try some Watch City blends. So as would be sort of perchance, a few months ago, our good friend Steve Coddington, Smoking Cardboard, he swung by a B&M somewhere and picked up all sorts of goodies, some quite rare bits and bobs. One of those was a tin of Esoterica's Century. Now, I'm a bit of a Germain's fanboy, to be honest. I've not tried a single blend of theirs I don't like. I've stocked up on 2 of them. And that Century just really appealed. I'm not a big consumer of alcohol, but I do like red wine and port, that kind of bold, sort of red grape or red wine based flavours. So the Century, being a blend that had been laced with red wine and alcohol and then aged before being tinned up and sent out, I thought that sounds really good. Now, Steve took a trip recently, swung by, I believe it was the same shop. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Steve. And he picked up another tin of Century specifically for me because I'd mentioned on his previous video how much I'd like to try it. So I can't thank you enough, Steve. I mean, that is just super generosity for you, isn't it? So to make it worthwhile, obviously sending a single tin over from Wisconsin to the UK wasn't going to be particularly cost effective. I did say I'd like to pick up a few other things, so I got some Watch City blends, which I'd really fancy trying. Obviously, our good friend Del Piper is very much a fan of theirs. So I bought in a few, just 2 ounce samples of, was it 4 or 5 different blends? I can't remember. I didn't bring all the jars out with me. Had them sent to Steve, and Steve then obviously put it in a box with the Century and sent it over. So again, thank you so much, Steve. So anyway, here I've jarred them up because the Watch City stuff came in like plastic baggies, but I've managed to take the part of the stickers off and stick them on my jars. So that one is, that's Nor'easter. Now all the ones I bought were either sort of crumble cake flake type things. If you've not seen Watch City's, I'll see if I can get one out. If you've not seen Watch City's flakes before, they're not like your traditional flake that we've just seen with the Erinmore. They come, and I've had to break them up to get them into the jars. So there's a section, but you'll see how thick that is. So they're sold as flakes, but in reality, it's crumble cake that's then very thickly sliced. But I think this keeps the tobacco well. I think it's a great cut. It's very nice to work with. It's not solid and really damp that you can't really do anything with it. They're very crumbly. This Nor'easter, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what's in it. I think it's Virginia Burley and a bit of Latakia. It smells divine. I've actually tried that one. I think I've tried 3 of the ones I've got, and so far that Nor'easter's my favourite. So I've only got that little amount in a jar. And as always, I wish I'd ordered more. But there you go. And of course, the tin that Steve got specifically for me, again, that Germain's Century. Oh, it is actually Germain's, not Esoterica. That's a bit unusual then, isn't it? I thought it was generally just Esoterica that the US got. I didn't know they actually got any Germain's specific blend. But it's another one of those weird ones that we don't get it in the UK. It's produced in the UK. It's even in a UK style tin, marketed as Germain's, and we don't get it. Anyway, that's Latakia, Dark Cavendish, Oriental and Virginia, laced with rum and wine and cellared to age. It sounds amazing to me. I don't know when I'm going to open it. I should probably keep it tinned for a while. It's a fairly recent batch. In fact, that's the date Steve bought it, I think December 20. I don't know how old it is. I'm not sure if you can date these. It doesn't have an awful lot of information on the sticker. I know some Esoterica tins have the codes and things on. This one doesn't seem to, so who knows. Anyway, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. The other thing Steve sent me was a rather unusual tamper. Now, I assume it's tamper. It is tamper. Anyway, there we go. I think it's pewter. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be, this section appears to be textured like wood, and obviously there's some sort of a claw. So Steve, if you can enlighten me, if it's anything in particular, do let me know. It's got like a bit of a sort of screwdriver head on it almost. So anyway, yes, very fine tamper. And one thing I did find is it sits beautifully in the hand, like so. So I reckon when the pub's open, I might put that in my pocket, because you never know when you'll end up in a scrap in a British pub. And this looks like it'll come in very handy. No, I'm only kidding. I'll just use it as a tamper. So thank you for that, Steve. And then another recent trade I've done, I did see Kitty put a video up yesterday as we're talking today on the 20th of February. In that she received the box of goodies I sent over to her. We did a trade. And part of the trade I got back from Kitty was another flake tobacco I'd fancy trying, and that is Troost slices. Obviously Kitty's over in the Netherlands, and this is traditionally a Dutch tobacco. It's actually made now in Denmark by the Scandinavian Tobacco Group, but it does say it's to the original. It's tiny, which is a shame because it's some lovely tin art, the picture on there. Why they'd make them so small now? I know they have to put the warnings on, but there's got to be a better way, hasn't there? But anyway, I tried, excuse me, I tried this yesterday. Very, very nice. And guess what? It's a Virginia Burley flake with a sort of a citrusy topping on. So similar to the Erinmore, in fact, not quite as pronounced. This one has more of a sort of an orange citrus tinge to it, but again, quite subtle. Enjoyed it very much. So thank you, Kitty. So there we go. That was just a few of the things I've had from our, like I say, wonderful community that was sort of trades forwards and backwards and gifts in terms of some of them. So let's just use this tamper of Steve's. It's a good old weighty thing being pewter. There we go. Let's get this lit. I've just noticed as well with the sort of outside light behind me, and I've got a light in front of me shining on, it's confusing the camera a bit. Oh, for summer, and I can film outdoors again, where it looks much better. So yeah, just for a final chat then. As I guess with most of us, I'm getting really fed up of being cooped up in the house. But the weather has improved here in the UK. So it looks like the museum's not going to reopen until April at the earliest, which is a bit of a shame because that's another month and a bit away. And that's even then, if they can, obviously, depending on what the government comes up with. So there's not really much I can film other than things like these tobacco reviews, VRs, of which there've been an awful lot of lately. But the weather looks pretty clear tomorrow, so I think I might need to do a bit of essential shopping and a bit of exercise maybe. And I'll take the motorbike and a backpack because I've got to do my shopping, haven't I? So I might have just a spin round the local area because obviously you're not allowed to go too far. And we'll have a see what's going on, I think. If that comes off, like I say, the weather does look like it'll be okay tomorrow. Another idea for a video is I've mentioned snuff. I've very much got into snuff in the last few months. And we all know about PAD and TAD. Well, I've also got SAD, which is snuff acquisition disorder. The advantage, however, with snuff, it's cheap as chips. It's the only form of tobacco in the UK that isn't taxed at all. So obviously in the small quantities you buy it in, or that I buy it in the small sort of tins, you know, maybe a tin that size, you can buy it in bulk. So it's very, very cheap. So I think I'll do a video on my snuff collection, how I got into it and how I'm finding it. Because again, it's very, very different to a pipe, isn't it? I do enjoy this. Hidden in a cloud of smoke. Yeah, it is very good, this. And the other thing I'm keen to do is obviously get some drone footage. I need to practice flying that drone. This sill, although it has many fabulous things for me to film, and it will look great from that sort of higher level, especially things like the old blast furnaces, the chimneys, the ironworks, things like that, where you get a completely different perspective to everybody else who visits getting that bit of height. There are lots of trees and obstacles and, like I say, chimneys and buildings. So I need to get a bit of practice. So I really need to get out and try and fly that a little more. So I've got a few ideas of where I can fly that. That would be interesting to actually put up on the channel for you to have a look at. So hopefully that'll come off. So it shouldn't just be me sat in my garage or in my house, just doing the odd review and things like that with the VRs. Hopefully I should have something a bit more interesting with luck. So with that, I shall enjoy the rest of this bowl. I hope you all have a very, very good International Pipe Smoking Day. So enjoy whatever it is you choose to smoke today. Be well, folks, and I'll hopefully see you very, very soon. Ta-da.